The city of Sarnia has just dramatically reduced the development charges after hiking them only just 2 years ago. And there's been a pretty hot two-sided debate about this at City Hall for the last couple of years, so it's a topic that's really worth diving into. Across Ontario, cities are all facing the same kind of pressure, and that is to build more housing, but to do it without creating unintended consequences for the existing residents. Some municipalities have moved quickly to lower development charges, and others have been a little bit more cautious. And not because they disagree about the housing problem, but they're weighing out the different trade-offs. My name is Jonathan Van Gassen. I'm a local realtor here in Sarnia, and my job isn't to promote or oppose different policies, but to help you understand how those things play out and how they affect you. Now, if you want to know how these development charges affect you personally and your buying and selling plans, there's a link in the description where you can book a call with me, and I'll gladly talk about your unique scenario. Now, if you're not aware of what a development charge is, it's a fee that is charged to a builder by the city or municipality, and those funds collected go towards things associated with new housing, such as roads, sewers, parks and playgrounds, all the things that are needed to create a new neighborhood. Lowering them reduces the upfront costs for the builders and makes the projects more financially viable. And it is important to acknowledge that in places where development charges have been reduced significantly, there has been an increase in building activity. Many of those municipalities are using federal and provincial housing grants to cover the funding gap created by the lower charges. So the idea that lower charges never work doesn't hold up. They can, but under the right structure. But we still need to see how this starts to play out in the long run. This issue shouldn't be looked at like a simple yes or no policy question, that either the lower charges are good or that they're bad. In reality, this is the exact tension that city councils are debating. Side 1 argues that lowering the development charges will encourage new housing construction and keep the development local instead of pushing it out to neighboring communities where the development charge is already lower. And this view is shared by many cities who have already decreased their charges and saw a direct increase in housing construction. Now, the other side raises a totally valid concern, and that is if we lower the development charges, the infrastructure still needs to be built, and without those fees, those costs need to come from somewhere, and it becomes a burden of all the city's taxpayers. That means that residents may end up paying through their taxes for roads and services in neighborhoods that they don't even live in. So in practice, the outcome really depends on how the gap is covered. If the development charges are lowered without replacing that revenue, infrastructure costs don't disappear and they shift onto the broader tax base. But when the lower charges are paired with federal and provincial grants tied specifically to housing, that cost shift can be reduced or delayed. And that's why you're seeing different results in different cities. So for buyers, this explains why supply increases unevenly, and for sellers, it explains why some markets feel new build pressure and others don't. Policy design means just as much as the policy itself. Now, as important as all of this really is, one thing it shouldn't do is change how individuals are making their real estate decisions. This isn't a signal to rush or a reason to freeze, and it's definitely not a promise of future outcomes. Housing responds over time and only when multiple conditions line up together. This debate has been resurfacing over and over again because cities are being pulled in two directions. They're being asked to build more housing, and they're also responsible for existing taxpayers. Federal and provincial grants have become a bridge between those goals, but they're temporary and competitive and not permanent guarantees. And that uncertainty is why city councils are remaining cautious even when the benefits of lower development charges are being shown elsewhere. So the real takeaway here is that there needs to be a balance. Lower development charges can increase the housing and keep that growth local, especially when supported with outside funding. But it also raises legitimate questions about fairness and who ultimately pays for the new infrastructure. Understanding both these sides will lead to better decision making rather than reacting to headlines alone. So if you want to talk through how these policy changes affect your scenario, make sure you book that call with the link below. And if you found this video informative at all, give it a like and subscribe to this channel for more Sarnia related real estate news.